I think it's a really interesting time for marketing procurement now. AI agents, agentic AI agents to manage some of your process these days. Everybody's got a co-pilot to assist them. Everybody's recording Teams meetings. Everybody's having that transcribed so your notes are produced quicker. This is kind of the world we're in now. And I think moving forward, it's going to get really interesting. That said, I think, as you know, there's a lot of talk about it, but not a lot of action at the moment. There's a lot of use, if we're honest. There's a lot of use at agencies, in all sorts, across all the pieces. Whether it be copywriting, whether it be producing images, and you can see there's some great case studies for it. Actually having worked on both sides of the equation, there's some great case studies. In the old days, an animatic used to take days to produce. You used to have illustrators produce that. Now you could probably do that in a matter of hours, and it would look really good, and it would be animated, and it would give you a good representation what your new TV campaign is going to look like. That for me is just one small example of how technology can change things. We're starting to see on our scopes of work new job roles, things like prompt engineer.
Interesting.
And obviously that comes with a new cost, and sometimes a higher cost. So we're starting to see the change. I think we're at the cusp of change where technology is going to change what we do in marketing procurement, what marketeers do, and how agencies produce work. I think we're at that cusp of change, and it's going to get interesting. But I think people sort of say, what do we do when we speak to our agencies about AI? Because obviously most of the agencies are offering a platform. They're all built on the standard ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepMind or whatever it may be. But actually, I think it's really good at marketing procurement get involved in that. You can't just have IT in a brand look at this sort of thing, because they'll check it's compliant, they check it conforms to certain standards, and it's safe and all those good things. But you need somebody who's going to use it in the day-to-day. If it's going to help you buy, if it's going to help you, with your marketing services, you need somebody who's actually going to use it. So I think it's really good at these. We're seeing marketing procurement sit on these committees now and make recommendations.
And that's part of, you said, moving away from being a tactical cost center.
Good example.
That's your chic enabler. That's a perfect example. It's embrace AI and really help the organisation to have that competitive advantage out there in the marketplace. Tools, technology and techniques was, we have to be the driver. I mean, AI is a no-brainer. It's, more than any other technology before, Absolutely. It is here to stay. And I think agencies and people like yourself have been more at the forefront of using it than perhaps clients. As you said, a lot of them are just using and dabbling in Copilot. I think it's just a great role for us to lead on, to use it ourselves. For me, it's really about how we can utilize tools, how we can really analyze techniques and then use technology.
I think there's two or three things here just to unpack it a little bit. I think marketing procurement need to be involved when you're choosing new technology, because they're the people who are going to use it. If you're looking to use some technology to speed up your internal process, and you should, all that back office should become easier. Perhaps, POs and other things, contracts will get simpler, because, you should have agents that help with that, and you should get some time back. So what I think we're saying in the manifesto is invest that time wisely. Invest it in talent, in sustainability, in looking at the future and the new technology. I think it's imperative that marketing procurement people get involved and look at new technology, because they're the people will be, they'll be using it in some way, shape or form. Marketeers may be using it, but actually when it comes down to reporting, analysis, results, data and proof, that's the world that marketing procurement operate in, and they're great at that sort of thing. You should be the champion of that. You should get involved in picking that technology.
Yeah, I think you're exactly what you said is it's much more than that. It's doing that analysis, that market data, that category management. It's a brilliant strategic tool, and I, used it quite heavily over the last week in doing some work for clients, and it really did push me. And I think it is that combination, and it's the same for agencies. You need is that machine with human, and I think it's saying, right, okay, that's really providing that added value. I can do those things much quicker, so it allows me to have some thinking time to do that. Invest in training, mentoring.
Put the time into things that you need to learn and need to know about, which will affect your business. We've got a bigger department than ever before, client management. because people want to speak to people, and people need help and guidance, and they can't do everything. They don't want a system to do everything. They want some human interpretation. So where you've got humans and technology working side by side, that works. And that always works.
And don't forget the middle T, which is techniques, isn't it? I've always been a fan of that in terms of ways of working. Because that's where you can. So using the tools, using technology, and then looking at the techniques, because that can drive that value.
Standardise the process, use it over here. Once you've got that, adapt it for other things.
It's time for marketing procurement to step out of the shadows and take ownership of a role that has the potential to deliver so much more. This is your moment to rise, to lead, to reframe what's possible. You are the future of marketing procurement.